Welcome to the second part of our SCT adventure into the Blue Mountains. Only a couple of hours out of Sydney, and I'll tell you what, check out this episode because we are covering off so much. From the blast furnaces in Lithgow, up to a cracking campsite on the top of a ridge, down to, well, we're going to the beach. Stay tuned because this is going to be a really cool one. There's a bit of slip and sliding, some of the best campsites you can get only a couple of hours out of Sydney, and well, a couple of laughs along the way. So stay tuned, this one is going to be a cracker. Lithgow is the first city that you're going to come across when you cross the Blue Mountains, either through the Great Western Highway or over the Bells line of road. It's one of those places that's truly incredible. It has got so much history in regards to industrialisation, blue collar workers, and basically building Australia or building Sydney. So a big part of Lithgow is based on manufacturing, pig iron, steelworks, pretty much the train lines that continue travelling westbound from this point. So in the 1860s was when steel and pig iron first started being basically smelted and created in Lithgow. There were big blast furnaces, and still like manufacturing today in Australia, it went through its ups and downs with imported products, influenzas, depressions, World War I, and well, there is just still so much history living in Lithgow. I mean, look around. Between the pig iron, the smelters, the furnaces, the railway lines, obviously the zigzag railway, which we visited in episode 1, there is just so much history in Lithgow. And if you're into the industrialisation, if you're into basically the history of building Sydney and building Australia, well, Lithgow's got to be on your bucket list. So we left Lithgow this morning and we're heading towards Bowtells Bridge. But we stopped into Lithgow and what was meant to be just a quick pit stop actually turned into a bit of a history lesson there.
Yeah, always like going into Lithgow. There's a lot of rich history in the area, the old railways, the gold mining heritage, the blast furnace, which I didn't actually even know about until then.
No, I've lost count of the number of times I've actually been through Lithgow, but to sort of cut to those back streets and go and check that out, that was pretty cool. So guys, this is 6 Foot Track. I've never been here before, but bloody hell, I gotta say it's stunning.
Yeah, it's a nice little windy road down to the bottom here.
Yeah, just cruising down the low range, nice creek down through the valley there, a couple of little crossings.
Yeah, I'm keen to see what else this has in store for us, but it's turned out to be pretty good so far.
Yeah, she's a steep one though, isn't she?
Definitely need a bit of low range.
Yeah, low range, just let the car do its engine braking and just use the brakes when you need to, save you cooking them and safe travels down the hill.
So 6 Foot Track, I haven't done it before, but we've seen a few pictures and whatnot, and we were driving through farmland. There were points where we were opening and closing farm gates, cruising across cattle grids, and then all of a sudden we've dropped down the hill and found this pristine little creek where it's just the crystal clear water running over the rocks, cascading down these little falls. And the next thing, we're following this creek, and it was absolutely stunning to see this water flowing down next to the cars. We crossed it on a couple of little points, which was pretty cool. Rocky little crossings, so nothing too challenging. But yeah, what an amazing surprise. Bloody hell, I wasn't expecting to see this. This is absolutely mint.
There's a bit of flow in that creek.
Check out the scenery to the right up the creek.
Oh wow. The water's so clear.
Cool just looking down something like this, all these little waterfalls, pretty nice.
Yeah, this is a very specky spot. You've got all these little creek crossings, nice rocky crossings and fern trees, and it's just like a dense rainforest, and it's unreal down here.
what we've got here is the gorgeous Cox's River. So what we've done is we've actually followed the road all the way down, which is essentially the driving part of the 6-foot track, which comes to a gate. And that gate from that point on is a walking track. About 1.5 k's, a bit less than 1.5 k's up that way is Bowtells Swing Bridge. And that's one you really need to check out. It's a massive long bridge. It's basically a big suspension bridge which swings and whatnot. Closed at the moment, unfortunately, but they're repairing it after damage and floods, so that should be fixed towards the end of 2023. So if you're watching this video and it's after the end of 2023, make sure you Google it, check the National Parks website because it could be open. Come on down here. You can camp in the campground here at the Cox's River, but you can't bring a camper trailer. So for us, we're going to head back up the hill and find another campsite a bit more suitable to our style of camping. So we've had rain for a few days, but the tracks have been pretty good. It's sort of just been cruising through, essentially a fire trail, and it's been pretty firm. And then all of a sudden, just climbing up this one hill was just an absolute butt-clenching moment where all of a sudden the cars had just kicked out and just slid, and it must have just been some wet clay or black soil or whatever it was just underneath the tyres. It was only about a 4-metre stretch. It wasn't huge, but it was enough for the whole cars to just slide, kick out. Yeah, it was a bit of a heart-stopping moment, and then poor old Sean behind me. Must have just copped the wrath of whatever I've churned up, and yeah, didn't make it the first go.
You do that one, Aaron?
We definitely had to do a bit of a reassess on that one.
Sean had to have a second go at it, but second go, no problem whatsoever. Dropped the tyre pressures and just sailed up, and obviously the other two behind, no dramas whatsoever.
Tyre pressures are definitely the most important thing. So we dropped about 20 psi out of the tyres and had a second crack and got up there with ease.
We've just watched Sean and Mark slide their way to the top of this hill. And this is where I'm just glad I've got this little lightweight camp trailer. Shouldn't have too many dramas getting up here, hopefully. I would love to see the face I just made then. That'd be brilliant.
So seeing the boys just tackling that slippery track, getting all crossed up, campers sliding down the hill and Aaron completely sideways, it was pretty entertaining to watch.
Well guys, that was a bit of steep country back there.
Yeah, that got bloody slippery to the end of it. I was on this the last car through, and after all you boys had gone and taken the top off it, it was, yeah, very, very slippery.
I reckon there would have been a few grins going up there.
It was pretty unsuspecting. We were sort of just driving along in a beautiful spot, and then, yeah, little patch where it was very slippery.
Well, they say it's always the third car that gets caught out.
Well, if we didn't have a 200 tearing it up with 35s, I might have had half a chance than that.
I drove up there responsibly. I used all of the truck and just took it with ease.
Yeah, so did Aaron.
There's too much power in this thing, mate. Now, we've been trying to work out for a couple of days now where Mark has taken us, and he's been keeping this one a secret, probably for good reason. Well, looks like a perfect afternoon to roll into a nice campsite. What have you got in store for us, Mark?
This one's a bit of a surprise. I'm not going to tell you where it is because I don't exactly know where it is. I'm just following my nose, but I know there is I'm told there is a cracker of a campsite not too far ahead. Just you wait.
Well, sounds pretty good to me.
I just hope you're not scared of heights.
As we're heading through the ridgeline, you're seeing these little peaks, and we still don't know where we're going. It's getting thicker and thicker, thinking this is going to go to a dead end for sure. And then it just opens up to this beautiful campsite right on the edge of the cliff.
we were hightailing it as best we could in the terrain that we had to make it to camp. And fortunately, we made it to the clearing right on the edge of the cliff, just in time to see the last light sort of cresting over the hills in the distance. So we are just packing up camp now. It's a bit disappointing, to be honest, to be leaving such a beautiful site. I mean, check that view out. Imagine waking up to that every morning. Well, we did it this morning, but yeah. So we're going to pack up camp. Fire's about to be put out. Guys are just packing up the campers at the moment. I'm going to show you something while I'm here though. We move all the campers around a lot and all of our gear and everything around a lot. We've been playing with these new bags from Toytoff. So they're a completely waterproof bag. One's a big blue one. Yeah, they just get thrown around all over the place. So they're coming on the market very, very soon, which is pretty cool. But there's a backpack. Sean's just out backpacking at the moment with his one. But anyway, things are all getting packed up. Campers are all packed up. Cars are just being reloaded. And we're going to hit the road for some more adventures and see where we end up tonight. Check out that view one more time. I actually get asked a bit how we get the campers into some of these really, really tight locations. And it's a lot of effort. Well, not a lot of effort, sorry. It's a lot of concentration. But there's a couple of factors that if you understand basic principles, you'll be able to get the camper almost anywhere that you want. And this, you know, it goes the same for reversing, for maneuvering, everything. And that's wheel placement and your pivot points. So wheel placement is obviously going to be where the wheels of both the car and the camper are going to end up. And the camper is always going to track in a little bit tighter than the car is, because it's going to try and cut the corner. Probably more importantly, and what I look out for constantly, is the pivot points. And you've got two main pivot points when towing. One is actually your tow bar or your tow ball, or basically your connection to the car, because that's going to be constantly pivoting in different directions as the car's turning. And a really, really big one, as I'm just sneaking past a tree there, is the pivot point of the trailer itself. So your axles, the center point of your wheels, is a pivot point for the trailer. You bring the front around, the back's going to go the other way. So if you're trying to clear trees or clear obstacles, understanding where that pivot point is, both for reversing and for driving through tracks, is absolutely critical to getting through tracks like this without any damage. Wheel placement, pivot points.
Oh, it's a bit tight through here. Luckily, I've got the 13 on the back, and it is very nimble, so we can get into quite a few tight places like this track right here.
Right, Mark, that was a pretty specky campsite down there. What have you got in store for us today?
Well, today it was a bit of a fun route in. We're going to do a bit of beating the bitumen today. We're going to head through Oberon and down towards Jenolan Caves and have a look down there.
That was an epic campsite there last night. I'm glad you showed us that one, Mark, and hopefully I've put a pin there and I can revisit that later on.
Yeah, it's pretty mint when you can find little locations like that, sort of hidden away up the top of a crest. You wouldn't pick it.
It's definitely well hidden. Definitely be coming back to that one.
I think that's some of its charm. Like, nature doesn't make it easy to find a good spot like that, so you got to work for it. Slide your way in there. It was a bit tight for the big Marloo, but you got it through there, Mark.
That's it. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
So we always talk about lowering tyre pressures when we go off-road, and it's really important. But what we don't sort of tend to focus on is increasing tyre pressure when we get back on the bitumen. Really important as well, because if you drive with lower tyre pressures on the bitumen, then you're going to have issues. You're going to overheat your tyres, it's going to cause damage, and you're going to get less life out of your tyres. So remember, lower your tyre pressures when you get onto the gravel and increase tyre pressures when you get back on the bitumen.
We're really keen to check out Jenolan Caves. It's World Heritage listed, it's famous for a reason, and we really wanted to check it out.
1 hour later.
Righto guys, slight change of plans. We're not going down to Jenolan Caves. Unfortunately, some road works and some stop-go people put an end to that plan. So plan B, we're just going to head straight towards the Abercrombie National Park.
That's a bit disappointing, but sounds like it'll be a good detour anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit of a shame we're not going to caves, but whatever we find up around this area will be alright.
Yeah, I haven't been here before, but there's a few videos and whatnot online of people that have, and it looks like a pretty cool place to go and explore. So nice and close to Oberon, you know, good camping, should be good for driving. I think it's going to be a good afternoon.
I can't wait to see what the tracks have in store for us.
Also keen to see if you boys can find me a fishing spot.
Come on, you can't blame us if you don't catch anything. Hey guys, the front of my car's sounding a little bit funky, so I'm thinking I might just find a flat spot and just check the brakes. I know that car pretty well, and it was just sort of something wasn't behaving as it should, so we sort of pulled over and just had a quick look at the brakes. Just checking. Funny sound at the front corner of the car, and we've been through a lot of like rocks and creek crossings and all that sort of stuff, so could be a few stones just caught in the brake pads, or I've got no brake pads. We'll find out in a sec.
Lucky we bought a mobile mechanic with us.
Shouldn't take too long. We'll jack it up, get the wheel off, have a quick look, and then hit the road. Dirty. There's nothing to see here. Literally nothing to see there. There's a little bit of love there, but not. We're talking like a couple of mil. Actually, not really. and it turns out I'd left the pads all over the country because there was none left on the car. So the brake fluid's looking pretty good, but the pads are not looking so great. So we're just going to see if they've got any replacement pads in Oberon. We can quickly change them out tonight. This car does a lot of towing. Generally we're on top of all these things, but I guess it's done a couple of really big trips lately, and it's just caught us out on this one, but easy fix. So we've still got a couple of days left out in the bush. It's probably more important to get the brakes sorted to make sure that we're all good for the next few days. So what we've done is, Sean's unhooked the 13, the Iridium 13. We've thrown it on the back of the camera car. We're going to continue down to camp because we're about half an hour, 40 minutes odd to camp. We can get the wheels off, get the original brake pads out while Sean's out picking some brake pads up, bring them back to camp. While he's getting the brake pads, we'll get the campfire going. Well, I was not expecting that turn off towards the Abercrombie National Park there.
Yeah, it was a weird transition, just felt like literally someone's paddock, but here we are.
So where are we camping tonight, Mark? Have you got something in store for us?
Yeah, well, mate, we were on the cliff tops last night, so we're going to the beach tonight.
Well, it's a beautiful day out there. Hopefully we'll get a nice sunset.
So coming down into the beach campsite was bloody steep. It was a good sort of descent down, which was made all the more interesting with very poor braking in the car. But pretty much all we do is lock it into low range first gear, let the car do the work, use the brakes on the camper, and just let the car glide down. It was a little bit scrabbly, and I'm not a huge fan of having big campers and big cars going downhill on scrabbly things. The camper can potentially start pushing the car if you can't control it. Traction was okay, a few little sort of slips and slides here and there, but the descent down, we're looking at it and the GPS is saying 200 metres to camp, and we're still felt like a kilometre in the air. So it was a little bit, I think we could sense that something was about to happen, and then just basically fell out of the sky into camp. So the cameras never show how steep it really was. The camera car was actually towing the 13 down, so it wasn't easy to pull up and whack the big camera out all the time. So we had the GoPros running, but you can take my word on it, that was a steep drive.
The river, every man has felt the shame. All our love, it ends the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing, oh, bury me, carry me,
Bloody hell, mate, this is mint. We're going to have to actually go down, do a U-ing and come back up into camp, Aaron, so you can probably follow me down. We'll just do a U-bolt down here.
Yeah, it looks pretty tight, doesn't it? It's a bloody awesome campsite, though.
Yeah, this is insane. Can you squeeze in there and then we'll just back up, or you can probably go first if you want.
It was like this high off the ground, like when you turn around here.
Was it?
I was pretty much underneath the thing that was that high off the ground.
What, got airborne?
No, it wasn't airborne, but it was just to climb that bank.
No, she's a weapon.
I thought you were going to have to winch that.
down to the river.
watching the sunset on Tennessee hills. I wish I could capture it, I never will. 'Cause I'm not a painter, can't stay in the line.
So Sean and I managed to track down some pads, so we're just going to rip in now while we've still got some light and try to get some new pads all around in this thing.
It's starting to rain, but I don't feel a thing. Sitting out rocking on that old porch swing. 'Cause I found me something that tastes like springtime. Just sitting here sipping on dandelion wine. All my life I've known some things you can't control. You can make plans, but they'll change on a dime. So pour me one more glass of dandelion wine. Preachers and dreamers, they both believe in the patterns and powers that we can't quite see. You can spend your life guessing or look.
What a ways get stuck in the mechanic jobs.
Hey Camo, you finished with my car yet?
Mate, I'm the one over here doing the hard work. Could you at least get me a beer?
Well, one of my beers.
Please.
You're dreaming.
Things you can't control. You can make plans, but they'll change most time. So pour me one more glass of dandelion wine. Pour me one more glass of dandelion wine. You can make plans, but they'll change on a dime. So pour me one more glass of dandelion wine. Pour me one more glass of dandelion wine.
When I told the boys we were going to the beach as part of this Blue Mountains adventure, I got a few weird looks, but I think you have to agree with me, it was well worth the challenging drive down there. From checking out the industrialisation and history of Australia at Lithgow, through the blast furnaces, all the way up to a campsite on top of a cliff, and then battling our way down the hill to, well, one of the most beautiful campsites in the Blue Mountains National Park area, the beach. You have to agree, this was a cool episode. So make sure you stay tuned for the next one, the third part of our series, and check out all of the campers that we're using online at www.signaturecampertrailers.com.au or one of our dealers around Australia. Make sure you like the channel, subscribe, all of the good stuff. We're going to keep battling on because we've got a bit more of an adventure to go.
Cameras are rolling.
Talking to me.
Oh, you ask questions or want to spill it out?
Yeah, like we were really keen to go and check out Jenolan Caves.
Yep.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, well, it turns out some unintelligent twats have closed the... No.
So Abercrombie National Park. Abercrombie?
Apple crumble.
Abercrombie? Abercrombie.
Abercrombie.
Abercrombie National Park.